Okay, let's get started on the solution to this exercise. And we'll begin by creating our new folder that I'll just call solution. So make dir solution, and we'll cd into solution. And then we need to create our package.json. So I'll do npm init. That's usually the very first thing I do when I'm starting a new Express app. Before I make any files, I just run npm init. And I'll just go with solution as the name, 1.0.0. Description will be solution to first Express exercise. Entry point, we'll make app.js. It's just a matter of preference. Test command, hit enter. Get repository, hit enter. Keywords, hit enter. Author, cold steel. License, that's fine. Is this okay? Yes. Okay, so that gives us the package.json. You can see that here. Now I'm going to make our app.js. That's where we'll write all the routes in the code. And then we need to install Express. So npm install Express. And the important part was that I wanted you to add it as a dependency in the package.json. And technically you could do that manually by going in and typing it in there. But the idea is to use --save, which will look for the package.json and automatically add it in there for us. As you can see here, let's close out some of these. Here we go. Now it has dependencies and Express listed under that. Okay, so let's begin by setting up our basic Express app. So I'm going to open this app.js and I'm going to require Express. And this just takes the contents of the Express module, the Express package. And then we want to execute it and save it to a variable, which is commonly called app, but it can be called anything, just like that. And now we have the app variable that we'll use to set up our routes. And let's go ahead and do the first one, which is the root. So app.get/. And the message that we're looking for is, hi there, welcome to my assignment. So we'll just copy that over. App.get. And then we need our function with the request and the response object. And in here, I'll paste that in to start. And we're going to do a res.send and just send that whole string and save. And let's go ahead and start the server. So node app.js, and you'll notice that nothing happens. And that's because we're missing the code at the bottom that actually tells Express, it tells the app to listen on a particular port. So we need to add in app.listen, and then we need to provide the port, which is process.env.port. And same thing for the IP, so process.env.ip. And I like to add in a little message afterwards, so it accepts an optional callback where we can do a console.log now serving your app. And let's save that. And if we now start the server, we get our little message. And if we go to the URL, just the root, and I hit enter, I get, hi there, welcome to my assignment, which is what we expect. So that's 1 out of 3 routes down. Let's get started on this speak/animal route. And the main goal here was to have you use a route parameter inside of your route definition. So we'll have another app.get. Before I show you the right way, I'll show you what you weren't supposed to do, which is /speak/pig, and make that its own route, and then another one for cow. That is not very dry code, especially if we had 5 different animals. That's not what you're expected to do. I was looking for this, /speak/animal. And this can be named anything, but I think animal makes the most sense. Maybe you could have called it creature as well. But we could also just call it X, which is definitely not a great variable name. It doesn't mean much, but it will work the exact same way as animal. And then let's add this in with our request and our response. And down here, we know we're going to send something back at the end, so we can add that in. And why don't we start by just saying this is the speak route, just to make sure our route parameter is set up correctly. And if we restart the server, and we go back and refresh, and to trigger it, we need to go to speak/something/anything, and we get this is the speak route. Okay, so now let's focus on the logic here. The first thing we want to do is just extract the animal. So I'm going to make a variable, just call it animal. And remember, it's in the params, so request.params.animal is how we access that. Then the next thing we need to do is have a variable that will store the sound that the animal makes. So something like var sound, and it will just be an empty string to start. And then we'll basically check if animal is equal to pig. Then we'll say sound should be oink. And we'll do the same thing, else if animal equals cow. And we can keep doing this, sound equals moo. And let's just leave it at that for now and add in our semicolons, and then res.send, and we'll just send the plus animal plus another space says space plus sound. And this only is 2 animals for now, because as you can see, it's a little bit of work to get another animal in there. It's an entire other if statement, and I'll show you a shorter way of doing this in just a second. But let's make sure this works. So if animal is pig, sound is oink. If it's cow, sound is moo. And then res.send, the animal says plus the sound. Let's restart, see if we have any syntax errors to start. Looks good. Let's refresh. This is speak/pig. And we get the pig says oink. And let's do the same thing for the cow. The cow says moo. Excellent. Now let's go back and talk about the easier way that I mentioned, where we don't have to have a separate if statement for every single animal. So rather than doing that, I'm going to delete it all, and I'm going to define a dictionary of animal sound pairings, which will just be a plain JavaScript object. So I'll call it var sounds, and inside we'll have an animal like pig, which will correspond to a sound oink. And then we'll have another one for cow, which corresponds to moo, and another one for dog, which will correspond to woof, woof. And then we'll add in cat as well, which says, I hate you, human. And the last animal will be goldfish, and a goldfish says ... So now that we have this object, sound, that matches an animal with a sound, all that we need to do is take the animal that the user is looking for, so speak/dog, for instance, and we take dog and plug it into sounds, and we'll get woof woof back out. So we'll keep animal how it is, we need this variable, but sound is now going to equal sound of animal. Just like that, and we should be good to go now. Let's save, restart the server, refresh, and it says the exact same thing. Let's try goldfish. The goldfish says ... and cat. The cat says, I hate you, human. There are 2 minor changes that I'd like to make. The first one is that I want quotes around the animal's sound. So it says, the cat says, and then in quotes, I hate you, human. And there's a few ways of doing that. The simplest one is just to use single quotes around sound. So we'll do something like this, where we add a single quote, and then at the end, we do plus a new string, and all that goes inside that string is a single quote. Quotations can be such a pain sometimes in JavaScript, but this isn't too bad. So we have single quotes inside of double quotes, or if you're using single quotes, you'll need double quotes inside. And now let's restart again. Refresh, and we get the cat says, I hate you, human, in quotes. However, if I go to cat with a capital C, we have a problem. Same thing if I go to dog with a capital D, and that's because inside of our sounds object, they're not uppercased. The keys here, pig with a lowercase p, dog with a lowercase d, and rather than duplicating it, we could do dog corresponds to woof woof. That's really not dry. What we could do instead is just downcase the animal as it comes in. So request.params.animal to lowercase, just like that. And now we restart one more time, refresh, and now uppercase D for dog and lowercase work just the same. There we go. So that's it for this route. The next route is the repeat route. So we're going to have an app.get, and we know we're going to have /repeat, and then we need two variables or two parameters in the route. And the first one is the message, so we'll just call it message to be repeated. And the second one is the number of times, and we'll just call that times. And we'll add in our callback with the request and response, the code that will be run when this route is hit. And inside of here, why don't we start by just capturing these two variables. So var message equals request.params.message, and var times equals request.params.times. And let's do a response.send, and we'll just do message plus message just to see what it is. And we'll also do plus times is plus times. So just to make sure that we're getting message and times correctly, restart the server again, go back, refresh, and this time go to repeat / and we'll do hello /1, and we get message is hello, times is 1. And if we change that, it works just fine. Okay, so now let's go back and work on actually getting this to work, where we repeat message times number of times. And the first thing we want to do is make sure that times is a number, because right now it's a string. So we'll do number request.params.times, just like that. And then we need to do a loop. So we're going to loop through. So I'll just start with a for loop. For var I equals 0, I is less than times I plus plus, just like that. And then inside of here, what we need to do is add message to a variable. So every time through the loop, we'll add in message, and we'll be making this giant string, or a potentially giant string, that we're then sending at the end. We can only do res.send one time. When you make a request to a website, you get one response back. You don't get multiple responses. And res.send is sending the response. So we can't just do res.send in the loop, because it will only happen the first time, and then we're done. So we need to do a res.send, and let's just do res.send result, which is a variable that doesn't exist yet that we need to define. And we'll start with var result equals just empty string. And then inside the loop, each time we'll do result plus equals message, just like that. And this will then send back the result string that we've constructed, that we've built up by going through this loop. So restart the server again, refresh, and let's do something a little more manageable, like hi /10. And it looks like we get 10 highs. Let's do 3. Yep, we get 3 highs there. But I do want to have spaces between them. And to do that, it's a simple change. We'll just add a space. We'll just add a space after we add in message. And again, restart, refresh, and now we get hi space hi space hi. And let's do hello /1000. There we go, looks good to me. The very last thing is getting the catch-all route, which is supposed to print, sorry, page not found, what are you doing with your life? To make this work, we need to use the asterisk. So we'll go back, and just at the bottom of the file, app.get star, and then our function, request and response. And then in here, we'll do a res.send and paste that string in and save. The very last time, restart the server. Let's go back, refresh, and try going to a route that doesn't exist, like this. And we get, sorry, page not found. What are you doing with your life? All right, so that's it for this exercise. Coming up next, we're going to keep working with Express. We're going to talk about how we can work with HTML, how we can send back an entire file of HTML. We're going to talk about templates and something called EJS, stands for Embedded JavaScript. And we're also going to talk about post requests.